And we are recording. Good evening, everybody. Today is January 12th. It's 5:03 p.m. and my name is Dave McDonald, Chairman of the Sewer Commission. I'd like to start our meeting off with some of these guidelines. We're going to do a roll call vote to confirm all the members are in person and that are on the agenda and that they are present and that they can hear us. So if I call your name, please refer them by saying yes. Mike Tabakis,
Yes.
John Reynolds is going to be a few minutes late. Brett Ransom. Brett, can you hear us? Nope, because you're probably muted, right? Brett, can you unmute yourself? I'm trying on my end, Brett. Hold on, please.
I think I have it.
That's on mute. Yep.
All right. Thank you. Sorry about that, folks.
Well, good man.
And Happy New Year.
And Happy New Year to you. And you're here, so let's check you out.
Yes.
Carl Luck,
All right.
Here.
Rob Oliver,
Here.
Bob,
Here.
Jane. And Jane, I know you're saying hi over there. So, the town of Lunenburg, in response to COVID-19, is currently following the guidance of the Lunenburg Board of Health, Massachusetts Department of Public Health, and the CDC regarding the virus and steps communities can take to prevent the spread. All town facilities are open from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. and by appointment outside those hours. It's actually, Barbara, is by appointment only now, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay, so all government offices are now have to be done by appointment only. In accordance with the governor suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, all public meetings are being conducted remotely. In order, which you can find posted on the town website on the COVID-19 information page, access through the town manager's webpage, allowing public bodies to meet entirely remotely, so long that reasonable public access is afforded to those publics can follow along in deliberations of the meeting. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting will feature public comment. Okay, so let's start this off. Announcements. Barb.
The Q2, the second quarter bills were due on the 24th of December. If for some reason you haven't received yours, you can contact the sewer office or the tax collectors for the amount due. If you have not yet paid, please do so because interest is accruing. And those that had a past due amount from the last fiscal year that ended June 30th, the amounts have been transferred over to your real estate tax bill, and you'll need to work with the tax collector's office to pay off those amounts. They can no longer be done through the sewer billing system or the online system. That's it for me.
Anybody have any questions on that? Okay. Public comment. First, I'm going to ask for any public comment from the public. I don't see any at all. Not seeing any public comment from the board. Mike?
No.
Carl?
Nope, thank you.
Brett?
I do not.
Okay, appointments. Again, we have none as of now. Is that right, Bob?
That's correct.
First thing on our agenda tonight is 384 Mass Ave. And before we go around the horn with this, I really want to listen to Rob and Barbara. We can start off with Barbara. Barbara, what is your update on 384 Mass Ave?
We did send out the certified letter. I believe I copied everybody on it. I had talked to council and that was his letter that we sent to both the contractor Esposito and the Munions. John came in on the when did he come in? Probably the 4th, to say that he was not going to come to the meeting. He does not do Zoom. He does not have a computer. And as you recall, when he did come to the last one, he did it at the Munions, I think. And he is requesting he would come and meet with you if it's a face-to-face meeting. So he'd like us to discuss that, either that or a call from a commissioner. He would like to talk about it, but he's not going to do it via Zoom. And then he did come in. He and I talked with Rob about the status of the connection and the issues, and he had promised to get us a better drawing. We talked about the fact that the one received didn't have enough, and it was submitted, and I can let Rob take it from there.
So as Barb said, when John was in, I suggested to him that he's going to need to prepare a plan. So he offered to do that himself. So I said, go ahead, show me what you got. So the plan came in. It doesn't show anything of significance in the way of property lines, whether it be the state highway layout or the lot line that divides the two properties. He did note the location of a stone bound. He stated to us that he knew where the property line was for the highway layout, and that he basically, I think in his words, was right on it. So that's the update from him. I did at one point, forgive me if I've already told the commission this, had reached out to Mass DOT in regards to what they were looking for a plan. And basically they left it in my court and said, whatever the town requires would be sufficient. So at this point, I don't have anything that shows exactly where that sewer line is, where it connects to the existing service. And I guess that's what I'd be looking for is, at this point, I'm recommending that a plan prepared by a licensed surveyor come in that shows A, all the property lines, and B, the sewer line, both the existing service and the new connection to that from 384 in its entirety. And then from there, have that submitted and flesh out any issues with that we see from there.
Okay, very good. The question I got for you guys is that I know we're saying illegal connection, and I don't think it's an illegal connection because we knew they're going to connect. I think it's a legal notification, breaking of the policies as far as inspections and so on. So to say illegal connection, I think we ought to take a look at that and say it's really not a legal connection. I don't know how you feel about that. That's just my opinion, looking at the situation, the paperwork that I got over the last couple of days. There was a concern about that little house on the end. So if you're looking at the property where the antique place is, there's a little house at the left-hand side of the property. We had concerns about that. And I talked to Andrea at the Board of Health and find out if that had a separate septic system or is it tied into the main house. And it looks like it's all part of the same property. So, and that's, hold on one second. I got to admit somebody. Doorbell rang, guys. I feel like I'm on a Soupy Sales show. There you go. Hey, John, we see you coming in. So I guess the question that I have would be, Rob, what is your recommendation we go forward with? Can you just repeat that now that John is on board?
Yeah, my recommendation is to have, I guess on behalf of the owner, have John submit a plan prepared by a surveyor showing the existing conditions such as the property line, the existing sewer service, the connection to that service that John made at 384, and property line dividing the lots. So essentially an as-built plan prepared by a surveyor to give all the information the commission needs to be able to move forward with whatever it decides. But to have actual location of that sewer connection that was made.
Okay. And the last thing was, I know Espo wanted to talk to the commission, which I offered to go down and talk to Esposito. I have no problem going down, talk to him during a commission meeting. So if you guys, and I got to check with logistically with Heather, which Rob, I don't know if I know you and I talked about this a little bit, but I have no problem going down, seeing him at the DPW, either in the garage or in the conference room or at the town hall where the cameras are. And any member, I think, would be more than welcome to go. I just got to check and make sure it is legal to do that. Any members who don't want to go, I know we can do the same thing with a Zoom. But I think if Esposito wants to talk to us, that's one way to do it. So I'm going to open it up to all the other commissioners and we'll go from there. And let's start with Mike. Mike, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, if he wants to meet in person, sure, wherever location is that we want to go and meet at, I'd love to go down there and meet him and talk to him and get his side of the story. I agree with everything Rob was saying. Everything should get surveyed, see where the lines are, see where the property lines are. But again, my question though too is, about making sure if he used the proper equipment to tie everything in. That's one of my concerns, is that we don't have a problem with this 3, 4, 5, 6 months, a year down the road. And, then we're dumping raw sewage out into the land and we have to dig it up.
I think-
Mike, if I can add to that, Dave.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think part of what I would be looking for, I think we have to have John basically re-excavate what he did at important points. One of those being where the tie-in was made to that existing service. There's a couple of clean outs he shows on his as-built plan. And then there's a bend in the line. I think we need to uncover at least those points so we can establish line and grade on the sewer line. And so, and again, we can, if he's going to uncover it at the connection, be able to, did he use a saddle? Did he cut in a YT? How did he make that? So yeah, that's important as well. And that's part of it.
Okay. All right. Those are my biggest concerns.
Oh, good questions. And again, I'm going by what my screen is laid out here. John, you're muted, John. Hold on.
Yeah, I concur with what Rob has said and what Mike says. I surveyed as built now and digging up whatever Rob determines the critical points to be to make sure that especially the connection is done correctly. So I'm in agreement with everything that's been said so far.
Carol?
Yeah, thank you, Dave. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay, great, thanks. Yeah, no, that's great. Thanks, Rob. That's a good update and the suggestions. I particularly like, I was wondering about the survey, I particularly like and think we need to uncover at least the key points. I went down there today to try to see if I could see, where this thing was and get some sense for it, because I'm kind of a go-see guy. Without going on any private property. And it's very difficult. I'm sure you've been down there, Rob. There seems to be some covering along the curb stone. I assume they must have dug right behind the curb stone because it's the only place I can see any disturbance. And I certainly see no signs of the clean outs or where the heck they would be. I see no hand lines. So I think the first step is to dig those up and even to survey it. I don't know how you'd survey and know where the stuff is without having done that excavation. So I would suggest that the first thing we do is ask him to excavate those points, like Rob said, and then I would like to give the commissioners the opportunity to go down there with Rob to take a look, see if we learn anything, how we feel about that, and then I would like to have whoever represents the owner participate in a meeting. And as you said, Dave, I think we could get the capability, whether it's down to DPW or town hall or somewhere, that they could go to a place that they could be on the Zoom meeting at the appropriate sewer commission meeting. Preferably, I would think when we've got that excavation, we've got the plan, and we can, actually have some meat to talk about, and have some facts. I don't know, and maybe Rob could comment on what's reasonable timing expectation. I'm afraid these things tend to drag out. You can see it's already dragged out quite a bit, and I don't want to just keep seeing it dragging with we're trying to get a surveyor. So I think we need, maybe the first step we need from whether it be Rob and Mr. Esposito working together, or just Esposito, give us a timeline. When does he feel he could get the key points opened up for us? When does he think he can get a commitment from a surveyor? When would we have the plan so we can schedule when he would come in? So we have the whole thing laid out, and it's not it's not just fighting every step of the way. And my last comment would be regarding legality. I don't know if Dave, if you have another word for it, but when someone connects without permission, I don't know what else to call it. I don't think it rises to the level of some other illegal connections that we've had. by a long shot. This is a special, not such a bad case, but it is. If we want to come up with a different word, certainly we can talk about that. But I think we keep it simple, and it is illegal if you connect without permission. And during that process, even if you connect without inspections, then it's illegal.
Okay, just a comment on that again. I think the illegal inspection is something that is done when nobody knows about it. We knew that they were going to connect to this property, and again, that's for the attorneys to figure out. I don't think it's an illegal connection. I think it was just done poorly. We knew they were going to connect to that house. Brett, yes, sir. What's your comments?
Well, I don't have a whole bunch to add to all that. I do agree with all of the above. I think, I think it's pretty straightforward. I think what we need to do is, they need to get the surveyor involved first, of course, because the surveyor has to be available when the pipes are exposed. And then he can obviously mark them exactly where the connections and the curves are. Other than that, I agree with you as well that I think it's not necessarily an illegal connection because we did know about it. If they agree with all these details, we end up with a survey that we know right where it is, it's working, the connections are good. I'm willing to go forward without, without a fine from there. I think what we're going to find timing wise, it's not going to be able to be up to us. I think we're going to have to see the timing on the surveyor, and we're talking January. So we hit, in a week or two, if we get a heavy stretch of 10 degrees, 20 degrees with below zero nights, we might be looking at likely April, late March before they can realistically dig through without doing too much damage.
Okay, I appreciate that. And I think my response would be to, we're not this doesn't have to be done tomorrow. Okay, I mean, we all know, I think the next step is for Rob and Barbara to make an appointment with Esposito and tell them exactly what we're expecting, that we are expecting the survey to be done. We are expecting for him to come and dig it up. If not, we'll do it at his expense. He's got to know what the actions are before we go ahead and do all this. Do you guys agree, Rob and Barb? Okay, so, I mean, we got to let him know. And that's why we want to have a meeting. If he wants to have a meeting with us, we'll do it soon. And so he's aware that this is what this commission is going to do. But he has to follow those steps, and there's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. As far as a fine, we'll talk about that later. Right now, I just want to make sure that we're comfortable with the connections, and I hope you kind of agree with that. But that's where I stand on it. So I'll leave it with Bob and Rob. Any other comments?
No, I think we're.
I got you, Bob. I got you.
I think we seem to be pretty much in agreement here. We knew they were wanting to make a connection. We put some pretty simple expectations on them, I believe, and they just didn't follow through. So, and if John Esposito wants to meet in person because he's not comfortable with Zoom, fine, so be it. So I think everything we've said, it sounds like we're all in agreement, and we should be able to move forward with this.
Barb, you got your hand raised?
I just wanted to also point out in that discussion with John when he came in on the 4th, he did not, his understanding was that Jack was checking with the state. So he did not consider what he did illegally. He thought he was, except I'm sure he knows by not calling for an inspection, that's an issue. But he'd submitted the paper, the permit and the payment, and he thought Jack was taking care of it with the state. So that, I just wanted to point that out, that he thought he was operating legally.
Yeah, no, I understood. And you know what? And that's why I wanted to wait a little bit before we start coming down with everything. Let's get the story out. And I think over the last couple of weeks, we got the story pretty well. And again, I thank you and Rob for sitting there with Esposito and trying to untangle this mess.
I have two
Go ahead.
questions,
Go ahead, Barb.
if I may. I do have a check. I've never deposited the connection check. It has a 6-month life and it's about to expire. So I will check with council if there's any issues in actually cashing it. I hate to go back and say we need them to reissue it. So
Which check would that be for?
this is there's a permit to connect for 2,910 that I've been waiting because the permit was never signed off, and I don't usually have the DPW director sign off until I know that everything's in order. So I do have it, and I'll need to check with council on it.
I don't have a problem with you depositing that check because they're connected. I mean,
Right,
I
right.
have after this, but I would definitely deposit that check.
Okay. And then the
Well,
other,
I-
is this meeting with ESPO a
Public meeting.
extra meeting, like during the day, or is it going to be?
If you can
What's
work it out with ESPO, and as far as, we just like to get it done. So if Mr. Esposito can meet us next week, pick a time and try to keep it around 5. I like to have it on so all the members are there.
Okay.
So anytime
Fine.
5, I like to do it at the town hall, just because it's a big enough space. But we got to check, and Rob, if you can do me a favor, I think you and I talked about it, we can check with Heather, see if that's okay. If not, we can all take our phones and do it at the DPW, either in the garage or inside the conference room, one of the two. But again, how many of the commissioners want to go would be another factor too. I know I would go, and just for the sake of argument, would anybody go if we can get permission to go? John, would you go?
If it was in a big enough room.
Yeah.
I just, with my wife's business, who she looks after a lot of frail elderly, so we have to be particularly careful.
I mean, Brett, would you go?
I would, as long as it's end of the day, 4 or 5.
Carl, you probably wouldn't go, correct?
Yeah, I would prefer to zoom in. Thank you, Dave.
And Mike?
Yeah, I'd go.
Yeah.
Like Brett was saying, toward the end of the day, 4 or 5 o'clock.
So I mean, I just gotta let this guy, Mr. Esposito, know that this is what we're requiring, and so be it.
I just would like to add, again, it sounds like we're all on the same page here. And I think as long as you can get a quorum, I would say go ahead with the meeting.
Yeah. I mean, if we do it, we need to know a couple of days in advance so we can post it, that's all.
Right.
And if it works out that it's 2 weeks, like I said, I don't know what the rush is now to get it done, as long as we put them on notice. I mean, it is what it is at this point. Anything else on this matter? Okay, let's move on to the next one, budgets. During my time on the commission over the first 5 years and now, I never understood how our budgets work. Sorry, just don't understand how they work. So we talked to Karen when I first became the chair about how we can simplify the budgets for all of us to read. So Karen sent over a budget format, and Barbara has been working with it. And Barb, what I want you to do is tell us your thoughts on it. I think everybody has a copy of the budget process that was in the package. Everybody see it?
Yeah, I have it. I noticed Barbara sent out a revised one. I have not looked at that one yet.
The revised one is just the this current year.
Okay.
So that was just updates with the entries from Munis. So that's just so you have the current year
Okay.
to reference. What Dave's talking about is the one for FY22.
Okay.
Which is on the spreadsheet. But one of the things, as I talked with Heather about the other day, and I relayed my messages to Rob and Barb, is, we got to get our budget process going. I don't anticipate any major expenses this year as far as hiring engineers and so on. I do look at some of the expenses as far as how to implement some of the maintenance program things. But our budgets right now, we're watching Leominster. What I want to throw in the budget would be a replacement for Barbara. I mean, Barbara, we need an assistant in our business. In our business profile, we have one person running the office. And I think it's time that we hire Barbara an assistant now and start putting it on the SAP for the personnel. And I like to push that coming up this year. And I'd like to talk about that for just a quick minute. And if anybody has any comments, but we do need a backup because Barb is going to retire someday. I mean, she looks 29, but we all know that, she probably wants to retire when she's 31. So,
Right.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
And Bob, could you explain to us how you feel about this?
No, it was actually in my plans to discuss it for this budget year. Also, I originally had planned, Jack was aware that I was anxious to get it going onto this budget. And what I would really like to do is have it start, number one, just need backup. If something were to happen to me, you just need somebody else that knows how to, work with the billing, accounts. You got to pay your bills, you got to get your bills out. There's a lot that goes on, all the connections. So it is important just to have somebody cross-trained, if nothing else. But I do want to retire
And you
somewhat soon,
just-
soon in the grand scheme. And what I would envision was starting somebody off as part-time if possible, with the intent that they would take over for me once I would retire.
And Rob, your opinion on that?
I'm wholeheartedly behind that. I mean, I just envision what it would be like if we don't have this position and Barbara does, even with 6 months, a year notice, if we don't have this prepared now, it's just going to be chaos. And just getting funds in through billing is just going to become a nightmare, and it's just going to wreak havoc on, the business of the commission. So yeah, no, I have other positions at the DPW. I'm faced with similar things. So it was one of the first things I noticed when I came on board was, the positions that are just a single person and they know everything. I'd be at a huge loss if Barbara retired without a replacement already lined up. So, and that person's going to need 6 months to a year to learn her job. And even then that's probably not enough. So yeah, I think it's crucial to get it done.
As you know, the way this works is once we agree on it, which I know most of us are, we have to go to town meeting and get it approved at town meeting with the personnel committee, which, did you send those emails over to Heather at all, Rob?
I did not. I will tomorrow.
Okay, and if you CC us on that, that would be good.
Sure.
But as a chair, I highly recommend we make this move. I've been pushing this for the longest time because we really need that as a business module is what we need. And again, around the horn real quick, Mike, do you have any concerns or comments on this?
No, I agree with everything you guys are saying. It's going to be sad to see Barb go, but I think we need to to get ready.
Well, hopefully this is going to be tomorrow, but yeah, John? Oh, John, you're on mute.
Mute here. Yeah, it's been something I've been concerned about for a while. Of course, Barbara can always consult part-time, I'm sure, once she retires.
So you say.
Okay.
From Florida.
Carl, yes.
Right.
You gotta leave your truck here though. Carl, any comments? Carl?
Oh, sorry, I wasn't sure I heard my name. Yeah, I'm a huge advocate of succession planning. But I think this is a good time. I'm even a bigger advocate of retiring as early as you can. So I'm delighted to hear that Barb is retiring, because I think most people wait too late. And as lucky as we've been to have Barb, I'd be even happier for her if she went off and did some camping.
Right.
Yeah, nobody deserves it more. Thank you for everything you do, Barbara. I was hoping you were going to wait till you were like 41, but I understand. And I'm on board, of course, with everyone. So
Guys, just keep in mind, she's not gone anywhere for a few years. Just planning now.
counting on it.
But geez, what is that?
Gotta-
Chipping in buying her flowers? Not yet. Not yet. As far as the budget, I want you guys to take a look at it. I'm just trying, again, as a business person, I like to simplify a little bit, dummy it up, I guess is the word. We don't need to know where every penny dime is going. I know some people aren't going to agree with that. But I know as far as P&L statements, I do them all the time. This looks good, but we do got to make some changes, Barb. And you and I talked about a little bit of them. But let's have everybody digest this a little bit and give us your thoughts at the next meeting. Is that possible? No,
Absolutely.
you're up, Bob.
And I will, if anyone has input as to things they would, were looking to see happen for the next fiscal year. What I will hope is to kind of grind through it and come up with my first go round, get it out to everybody as soon as possible. So, but anyone that has anything to add or don't forget kind of thing, I'll take it at any time to incorporate it into that first draft, because Heather will be looking for it from us soon. And I would usually at the January 26th meeting, we should have something in the works that is close to what we want. So in order to meet close to our normal time frame.
I mean, I know the one that we got here, is this what Karen's using now? And I don't know why we keep moving around on the screen. Is this what Karen's using now, Bob? And
I
you take-
assume, I mean, she's never sent that document to me before. It was very nice. I was pleasantly pleased. And if that's that's where I've started making notes and adding things and whatnot. But that was a new piece for me. And if my plan is to just use it, and if that's her format, I'll stick with it.
I mean, one of the things I really like about this is you'll see any actuals versus the budgets, and that's ideal. And that's the way you can always monitor how we're doing just by referring to last year. And I've been asking for that for the 5 years I was on the commission before. I know Mike Null asked for that too, as far as you always want to know what's going on now, what we compared to last year and the year before. So to me, this is very good. As far as some of the columns, yeah, we can change some of them around, but I think Karen's taking your numbers and putting them into this, which is the main,
Right.
if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
So does anyone have any comments about this? We don't have to debate the hell out of this tonight. It's just that something that we're going to be working at this year. We'll start now. The screen changed on me, so let's start with Carl.
Yeah, I just want to make sure I'm looking at, this is the spreadsheet that was sent out that I think is called the 22 working budget. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So, and this is just a start. And I agree. I think it'd be great to have a tool, a very high level tool, so that we don't get lost in the noise. But I'd like to clarify that the level of detail that it goes into creating this budget is still be there and still be available. Is that your plan, Barb and Rob?
Well, I've got Dave who wants to simplify. So I would have my own notes as to where I came up with numbers, but it would not be on this sheet. It will be separate that I can, obviously share with everybody. But the old format had all my descriptions and how the numbers were calculated. And I think that's what they're trying to get it more simplified.
Yeah, and I'm not against this simplified version, and if that's what gets discussed at the high level, but I don't know how we can do our job. I mean, our number one job is managing the budget, and I don't know how we can create a budget that we're highly confident in without seeing at some point the lower level. Dave mentioned, for instance, the making sure we've got
Darcy's
fun.
very interested. He loves it.
We've got very
Full plow, would want the plow on the front. Doesn't care if
Yeah.
it's a rebuilt title. I was pretty upfront with him about everything. He said, I don't know, I want to give you a wicked lowball offer, but maybe like 5,500 for me.
Somebody's background here? Okay.
okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know. You had mentioned, Dave, which is appropriate, that we make sure we've got the maintenance plan covered, because there is a lot of work there that's going to be new. We're going to do a better job of maintenance, and that's going to be more, some more money. So we need to know where that is. But there's other planning that has to happen. We've now accumulated through various engineering reports that we've paid for quite a list of suggestions of things that we should be looking at regarding I&I. So somewhere we need to get the details of what I&I plans we have and what those costs are. So I'm wondering, and I'm not against this high level, but what I do think we need to do the job is we need to level down in terms of what creates that high level, so that we can understand and make sure that we've got tasks in the right plan, and then we've got those costs covered. And the other thing that I'm sure is coming, and this is just the first shot, is and maybe I'm missing it, I don't see any revenue in this budget. And I don't know, the budget is a pretty important part of the budget is revenue.
Well, I think that's up at the top of the very first one, the debt services.
That's the betterment.
That's betterment. Yeah, that's not revenue. I don't see user fees or penalties or, I don't see anything that reflects revenue. This is only the betterment.
Okay, well, like I say, there's more to work at it. So this is what the town's doing. So like I said, be prepared. We're going to be making some changes on the budget. Mike, what are your comments on it?
I agree with you guys. I think that we need to basically kind of continue to look at it. Need to study it a little bit more. I didn't have a chance to really look at it. But yeah, I think we kind of just need to keep moving forward. And I like the simple format, Dave, that you like using. It works for me with my business. And I'd like to try to keep it as simple as possible.
I think thank you, Mike. I think what you got to look at is you got to look at us as like a board of directors, and then you have accountants who do this stuff. As far as us, and I'm speaking for myself, as far as business, what we care about is bottom line numbers and where we're going. So if Rob sits there and says, hey guys, I want to do on the maintenance plan, we're going to do cammering or something, we throw that in the budget. There's a lot of things in there that we really don't need to know. And Barbara, what you do is exactly right. You have your worksheets to come up with the numbers for us. We don't need to see that. We just need to know what the numbers are. Your worksheet, the way you do it, that's up to you. But you know what I'm trying to say? We're just advisors, this commission. We're not the actual people doing the budgets or whatever. We're advising you guys, and you guys should be advising us as well. But the bottom line is that we make a budget for our customers and for you, and we continue forward and we try to keep that budget. But who knows? Something may happen during the course of the year too. But we do have to simplify the business a little bit. John, what's your comments?
Well, I prefer looking at the upper level, but as I think Barbara said it at the beginning, she's going to have her worksheets. She'll know what goes into every one of these numbers, and that information would be available to us if we needed it.
Right.
But let's look at it. I mean, if there's one particular line item that someone feels they'd like to see more detail, let's talk about that. But I don't think we need as much detail as we've had in the past on the budget.
Okay. Brett? You're mute, Brett. Brett, can you unmute yourself? Brett, you have to unmute. There you go.
Yeah, I'm working on it. My phone has a mind of its own. Yeah, I agree actually with the three of you. Seeing the higher level simplifies things, and that's where I'd want to be is overall numbers. And if we had some questions, Barbara could probably pull up a sheet or look into it later and say, there's these items you might be wondering about, something like that. I don't know if it'd even be easier for Barbara to do it that way too. I don't know, but I think I'd like to see it a little more simplified.
Bob, thank you, Brett. Bob, maybe this year you can still do your own budget because we have to get those in soon. Use the old format and we'll put everything onto the new format as we go along. How's that? We can work it together. But right now, I'm not saying throw everything away. Absolutely not. But let's start thinking about conversion to this new format. And it's not really a new format. It's a new format for us, but not for the town. But anyways, that's what I like to do. So if you guys agree on that, then let's start working it, Bob. You okay there, Bob? Okay. Any other questions on the budget? Do we have a deadline when the budget's?
Mr. Chairman?
Go ahead, Carl.
Mr. Chairman, not so much a question is just to say what you just said a couple minutes ago. I fully agree with. It'd be a good transition year. Barb work at the level we're used to, because I know that the detail that goes into getting reliable numbers, and that's the key. I mean, all the work at that low detail has given us pretty reliable numbers in the past. And then this new format is really a summary format of that lower level. So managing at that higher level, I think, is good once you've got it starting. So I agree with your last statement, Dave.
The only thing I want to say is that this year is a year of, we went through a lot last year with COVID. We had no idea where the numbers were going to go. We had no idea what was going to happen. We've had major changes in our personnel along the way. So last year, I don't know what the final numbers are, Barbara, as far as what's going into retained earnings or anything from the last budget. I mean, but I think this year we got to be just as cautious about spending money. Only spend it when we need it. Let's get through 2021. Hopefully we'll have a really good understanding on where our budgets are and do we have to raise our increase our rates again? We don't know until we look at all this. So, and Bob, I'll give you the last comment. Do you have any comment on this?
Nope, I will get to work.
Okay. Rob, anything?
Nope, I'm good.
Okay, let's go on to the next one, which is the 123 prospect request extension deduct metering. Barb.
Yeah, I met with the Royce. They were under the assumption, I guess, that we had the commission had extended the deadline for installing a radio read meter until 2021 because of COVID, and why, if we hadn't, why hadn't we? And I basically said no one else even asked. So they were the first ones to express that question or the desire. So I copied you on their letter. They're looking for not only an extension. They're not elderly, but they're older and concerned about having strangers in their home to do any work. So that's why they're looking for an extension. And I think they just thought it was going to be automatic since COVID extended longer. Their plan would be to call in readings just like the old style until they've got a radio read meter in.
And your recommendation, Barb?
This is what I was trying to get away from. But I don't know, we're here to try to help people. And they did get a substantial invoice because this was their first one that did not have a credit on it. And of course, this was the worst one because it was a very dry summer and people had, watering lawns and gardens more so than any other quarter. So I'm not against it. I'm afraid of having too many people come forward and need it again. It is a time consuming process.
Rob, what's
They're also, their current reading is so great that it would almost have to be applied over 2 bills. So it just creates an avalanche of workload.
Rob, what's your opinion?
I mean, as Barbara said, we're trying to help people. I'm not necessarily opposed to it. I don't know what it would be different if it were their water meter. I'm sure the water district has the ability to enter premises for their meters. This is a little bit different situation where it's just a second meter. I don't believe we have any rights to enter for such things. So I don't know what recourse you have. I know Barb's trying to get away from this, but I don't know how many examples we have of this, Barb, if this is the only one at this point or if there's others. Yeah. So, there's a little bookkeeping involved and it's more work, but unfortunately, I'd say I don't have an issue with it.
Okay. John?
I guess someone who's being pretty precautious about COVID, I would hate to tell someone they have to let someone in their house. So I just hope it doesn't balloon for Barbara if we grant this.
Okay. Brett?
Yeah, I don't want to make Barbara any extra work, but I understand where they're coming from too. you know, Barbara's the one that has to do the extra work. If she's on board, I'm on board.
Carl?
Yeah, this is a tough one. You got the business side and you got the tugging at your heart side. And I certainly am sensitive to being extremely careful. Although I still am forced every month or so to go shopping and have had furnace repairmen come into the building because I don't have any choice. I'd like to say it's a one-off case, but Barb, I had the impression that a significant number of people who were on irrigation meters are not haven't re-signed up and have the meters. Can you tell me how many people we've dropped roughly? I mean, not exact, but we're around 50-ish and
Right. Well, I believe it was about, well, I think I have 36 people now signed up. It was at 54, so we lost about 20.
yeah. So my concern is that I suspect maybe a number of those 20 that dropped out because they didn't want to have a meter put in. So I see us potentially heading back down that path. And so if all those 20 people come in and say, hey, me too, I don't think we'd have any way of saying no. And then we'll be kind of, almost worse than back where we were, because now Barb's going to have to the old and the new system. So I'm just a little concerned about that. I don't know how to get around that. We had during the development of the process, we thought that something like this might happen, not like this, but that some people might not have a meter, and that there was some discussion of having additional charges for people who didn't have a meter due to the fact that they would be creating a whole work stream. So maybe that's something we could think about that would, I'm just very nervous that, we're going to get, 5, 10, 15 people in here and saying, yeah, okay, now, me too.
Mike?
Yeah, it's kind of a tough situation. I know going into some people's houses, we get masks and gowns, gloves, booties to go in and do things in people's homes. But again, I kind of agree with if they're not safe or comfortable with it, it's kind of a tough call. But then again, maybe you could, I don't know the legal aspects of things, but if they could sign a contract that says, this is the certain date that they have to have it done by to get the credit because of the COVID. And then if they don't meet that certain day, then all bets are off and all the credits are gone.
I like that idea. I mean, I think as our commission goes, I agree with people today are afraid with COVID, and I appreciate that. And we try to bend over backwards for our customers. But on the other hand, we still have our policies and procedures. And this is a tough one, but my recommendation would be to send her a letter, let her keep on giving us the readings right now. And when summer comes by, give her until 4 months or 5 months in June, and that has to be done by then. Extend the date for her. That's what I would do. As long as she's paying the bills, that's all I care about. What do you guys think? Yeah, go ahead, Bob.
Just a suggestion, just send them a letter and saying that a new meter needs to be put in before the start of the next fiscal year in order to.
Or before the summer. I mean,
Right, well, that would be July 1st.
yes, I would say let's extend it out because of that and give her a break, but let her understand that if she wants the reduction, then she's going to have to get the meter in.
Right.
And hopefully it'd be a nice day where she can open the doors and let people come in and do the job. And I don't even know how far they got to go in the house, just to the outside water meter, right? Where's this meter being
It all
installed?
depends on what they have installed. They may have to access the basement.
Yeah. I mean, my recommendation would be let it go, extend the date to, what did we say, June 1st?
July 1st.
July 1st, I'm sorry. I mean, then we can sit back and reevaluate it at that point, but you guys agree with that? Do we need a vote on this, Barb?
Sure.
Okay, so I'm looking for a motion to extend the date for metering until June 1st, July 1st. What is it, July 1st?
July 1st.
Yeah, July 1st.
I'll make a motion to let them extend the date of installation of the new meter to July 1st. As long as they are continuing to give the information from their physical meter to Barbara.
Second,
I'll second it.
all this discussion?
Just as quick, Mr. Chair, I would just add to the motion the address, so that the motion is complete, but this is just applies to that particular address. I think it's a
Right, you want
123.
Sure, 51 Oak Ave, correct?
No, for 123 Prospect.
Oh, 123 Prospect, okay. For the residents at 123 Prospect, to extend their need for an installation of a irrigation meter by July 1st before the new fiscal year starts would be their deadline. Keeping in mind they need to continue to send their meter readings in some form, email or otherwise, to Barbara along the way.
Looking for a second on this? We got a second. Looking for a roll call vote. Mike,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Carl,
Aye.
Brett,
Aye.
and an aye for myself. Okay, rest for, all set, Bob?
Yep, I'll
That
send
should,
a
that
letter.
should give you much more work, right? You should be all set with that. We gotta hire you a secretary. Okay, request for an invoice from 54 Oak Ave, which is the high school. Go ahead,
Oh,
Bob.
boy.
Correct.
And back, in fact, before we go through all this paperwork, I'd like to just have Bob and Rob summarize what they're doing and then your recommendation on this, because I'm definitely going to back you guys on this. So whatever your recommendations are, I know you're going to get my vote. Not that I don't want to hear it all out, but I've seen the paperwork, so.
Right.
Me
I sent too many, probably pieces of paper on it. But we did go back and forth. Both Rob and I did look at the numbers. John wants me to go back and start with the 4,400 figure. But that was just a figure that matched the water usage for the schools. Just because they had installed the irrigation meter mid-quarter, didn't know where, didn't know when exactly, how it fit in. So it was just as easy, knowing the schools were closed at the time for the last bill, to just say, fine, we're going to bill you the minimum, and that's it. But to go back to that 45.4 figure is not, it makes no sense. It was the water usage, and that's where it came from. So I had taken the actual number given by the water department, like an 88 figure, 88,654. I don't have it up in front of me. And I backed it off by about a third, because for that August bill, the water readings and the irrigation readings were taken about a month different. So I backed it down to that 60,000 start figure already, trying to anticipate that or give them the benefit of the doubt that, we're not going to start high because it was taken after the water. So we'd already put thought into those figures. And I just don't feel the need to adjust that amount. I think it makes sense. And he really was given a gift, so to speak, for the Q1 billing at a minimum charge for a high school, because we know that there's water usage not just in the fields. So I didn't think we needed to do it again.
And Rob, I know you looked at this. So what's your opinion on this?
Yeah, I mean, Barb just basically summed it up. I agree with her accounting of it. I know John has some other thoughts on, actual water use in the buildings, but the meters don't lie. And as Barb said, Q1 was adjusted in the school's favor because of the timing of things. And I think Barb's evaluation of it moving forward for this quarter is fair and honest. So I wouldn't change anything.
And let's go around the horn. Mike, any comments on this?
Nope, no comments.
Okay, John?
I support Barb and Robin on this.
Carl?
Yeah, I went through that numbers as best I could, and I support their analysis and their conclusion.
Brett?
They have, I support them as well. No comment here.
Okay, and same thing with myself. You want to vote on this, Barb, so you can tell John?
Sure.
Okay, so I'm looking for a motion that the sewer commission accept Barbara's calculations of the water bill,
So motioned.
Of the sewer bill.
of the sewer bill, sorry, yeah.
So motioned.
Second,
Second,
Second it.
okay, any more discussion? Okay, a roll call vote. Mike,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Carl,
aye.
Brett,
Aye.
I for myself, could you send an email to John Lundas and make sure we copy Heather and the commission on that?
Okay.
Okay, good job. Okay, comments, privileges of 57 to 63 Crossroad. Vote to-
Commitment. You all voted already in November to assess their, the privilege fees. And what we normally would do at this time is have you sign off on a document that goes to the assessor's office and the collector's office, which authorizes the collectors to take in the money. Until we do meet in person, I just wanted to have, I've already advised the collectors that it was a vote to assess, but just the vote that you would sign off on this commitment for $13,997.47 each for both 57 and 63 Crossroad for the privilege fee of a sewer assessment. So I don't know if, I don't even know if you can see, it's just a form that needs to go to the collector's office, always has, and the commission's always signed off on it. Mylene is looking into whether eventually, if, I don't know how long these Zoom meetings will go on, but to try to get the sewer commission on the DocuSign program, I guess. So it's with Heather under consideration. So eventually, hopefully we all sign it and meet it in person. But I just wanted your vote that you have approved processing this order. It's an order of assessment for the Board of Assessors,
Okay.
actually.
We're looking for a motion to approve the assessments for 53 and 63 Crossroad. Is that correct?
57 and 63.
57, 63. So I'm looking for a motion for that.
So moved.
Second. Any seconds?
I'll second.
I'll second it.
All right, any more discussion? The only discussion I have, Barbara, is that I know the town does have the signature, what you call AquaServe, or
DocuSign, yeah.
I've used it on other things. So do we have to come down and sign that, or do you want me to come down? and sign?
No, this is why I'm just doing the vote, and I can advise the collectors that the commission voted in absentia to basically sign off on this
So
document.
could you put on there per sewer commission meeting, today's date, blah, 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 and just, okay.
Yep.
So, okay, roll call vote. Mike,
Yes.
Brett,
Aye.
Carl,
Aye.
John,
Yes.
I for myself. Okay. Maintenance plan, sewer commission input, Rob. I know Rob asked for us to look at the sewer commission plans, sewer commission input on this maintenance plan. I'll be honest with you, I haven't had time, and I enjoyed the last week after Christmas. Has anyone ever else sent information to Rob in regards to this? Mike, no?
No, I am not.
Brett, have you done anything?
I have. I've actually reviewed pretty thoroughly about half of it, but I'd like more time myself.
Okay, Carl, I'm sure you have.
Yeah, I've sent mine in.
Okay, John?
I'd like until the next meeting.
Okay, so why don't we do this? Why don't we go till the end of February? Can we do that? Meantime, Rob, I know you wanted to do some things on the plans. as far as maintenance plans? Is there anything you wanted to start?
Yeah, I have some stuff that I still need to look at. I've more or less been through the entire document, but I know there's some other things I need to look at that may or may not be part of it. So yeah, I have a little bit of work left to do on it. And then once I start getting, everybody else's comments, I'll compile them and spread them around.
I would,
Go ahead.
I would like to make one quick comment. I wanted to thank Carl actually, because the copy with the track changes that he put on for us to look at actually is a useful tool. And I just wanted to say thank you, Carl.
Thank you, Brett.
Anybody else? So do we need a motion for this, or we all agree, let's start it on February, whatever our meeting is in February 9th?
I don't think we need a motion for that.
No, but just want to.
Yeah.
Your thoughts? Everything okay with that? Okay.
Yep.
Let's move on to fiscal 20 annual report. Volunteers, what's that, Barb?
Well, we've gotten the request from the Board of Selectmen that the annual report needs to be in by the 11th of February. And I'm just looking, I will always open it up to the commission if they would like to volunteer for the process. Otherwise, don't laugh, Carl. Otherwise, Jane has also stepped up. She did a Lions portion of it last year. And so she's agreed, as long as there wasn't any commissioner that was just dying to get their teeth into it.
I would say based on last year's, if Jane was willing to tackle it, I would say go for it.
I agree. The Jane and Barb team seemed to work very well last year.
Just spell my name right, Jane. That's all I ask you to do. M-A-T.
The
Okay.
first name or last name, Dave?
It doesn't matter. Okay, annual town meeting is coming up. Warrants have opened on today, right?
Yeah, I believe the selectmen will be opening it tonight.
Oh, that's right. It's Tuesday night. Crap. Okay.
And it's just a heads up. It's just, we'll be needing to think about any articles, if there are any besides the standard ones that we usually do. If there's anything coming down the pike that we need to think about, that's all. It's just letting you know that it's open.
Mr. Chairman?
Yep.
On that, you mentioned earlier if we did have, add a assistant for Barb, that it had to go to town meeting. That confused me. So is that something that we'll have to go on a warrant? I'm not aware of that process.
No, I don't think so. Plus, we're not going to make it for this warrant anyways. I don't think we're going to make it.
Okay.
For this warrant. But it has to go to town meeting for approval,
Alright.
just like all the other positions. But we still got to make the responsibility and what do you call it, the resume part of it, or
For job description.
job description. Yeah. So that takes a little bit of time.
Good, thank you.
But if we can get it on, if you want to check Rob with Heather, if we can do it for this town meeting, that would be good. I just don't know if we can make it or not.
Yeah, I actually, while we were talking, I sent an email to Heather just to update her on the fact that that's what the commission is looking to do in this budget, and just giving her a heads up because I thought it would have to go to Springtown meeting.
Yeah, like I said, I just don't know because it's still got to go through the process, the SAP and all that.
Mhm.
Okay. Next one is the notification 1221 that Carl sent us a letter in regards to council hours. I have a letter from Mr. Luck dated on the 21st of December, which was before Christmas. So ho, ho, ho. Carl, if you want to read that for the record, I'll let you do that.
No, I just wanted to follow the new policy, which was to notify the commission of that I met with town council. So it was just a formalization to comply with the policy.
Well, you didn't comply with the policy because the notification should have been prior to going to see the attorney. And the second thing was that really upset me was you did it because of spite of the chairman. And if you have a problem with that, let me know. But our policy, just to let all the other board members know, is that we can come up with our own policy to see the attorneys. What would the attorneys do now? It's not a right. It's not your right to go see the attorney. It's a privilege. And that privilege has been violated as far as I'm concerned. So with that, Mr. Luck, why would you do it? Because in spite of the chairman? Why would you go see the attorney? No one.
I have no idea what you're talking about, Dave. I have no idea what you're talking about. The policy
Read your
says to
letter.
notify, it says to notify the commission, and that's what I did.
No, no, you know what?
Might
We
now
talked
be-
about this, and let me explain something. This policy was set up to prevent this from happening. Mr. Luck, you've shown in the past to do this, you go rogue a lot, and I really don't like that. When you go rogue, if you don't agree with something this commission does, you go ahead and do it. You even make your own presentations at town meeting if you voted wrong with the sewer commission. This has got to stop. This has got to stop. You knew you weren't supposed to go represent or talk to them about the sewer. You knew that, yet you did it anyways, in spite of what the chairman said. I take very, very strong offense to that. Not only did you lose my respect, you lost my trust. So for you to sit there and say, oh, I notified after, that's a bunch of crap. Because what we talked about was to put a policy that you need permission. You were the one who said, I want to change that permission. We want the notification. Well, we can change that policy to whatever we want. We can say, no, nobody goes to the attorneys. It's our policy to modify, not the towns. So you abused that position, as far as I'm concerned. You abused it big time. And that's the way I feel about it. And my recommendation, if I was running a business, I would ask you for your resignation today. That's how serious it was. I'm very upset because you went behind our backs, because it didn't go your way. And that's what bothers me. And when something doesn't go Mr. Luck's way, that's what you do. That's what you do. And you know, you can go when you say it doesn't cost the town any money. That little job that we did up in Mass Ave, when one of our customers had a betterment that was going across an easement that we talked about, and we had the lawyer there that night, and we discussed it, and we approved to take the betterment off. You didn't like that, so you went back to the attorney, said him your story, came back to this commission and said, hey, after talking with the attorney, we should go back and redo this again. By doing that, that cost this commission $2,500, Mr. Luck, by doing that. So I really had it. And I'm just talking about myself. As other board members, we're trying to get the work together as a board. You don't like to work with us. That is so obvious. You want to do it your way. Well, that's just my opinion on it. Now, what do we do from here? Okay, my question would be, I don't trust you. I don't trust you to represent us, and I don't trust you to talk for the commission. We do it as a group. That's what we're trying to do here. My opinion. Any comments?
Yeah, I first, I'm quite taken aback by your statements.
Good. Good, because you know what? I don't want to listen to your comments.
Well, am I going to get to comment right after your little speech?
Yeah, go ahead.
So I can comment. All right, so let's go back. For those who remember, or you can go back and check the YouTube, the night we discussed that policy, there was objection to the statement that it was required. Permission, I think the word was permission was in there after some discussion. And if you look at the YouTube, Mr. McDonald, the suggestion to change permission to notify was your suggestion.
Yes.
And that was what was incorporated in the policy. The last meeting we had that discussed that, this was related to the, let me look at the address here, 384 Mass Ave. That evening, Barb mentioned that she had an appointment to go to the council and that she could bring those questions up there. And I said that if it was acceptable to Barb, I would like to sit in on that session. Barb said that she'd have to check. She wasn't sure what other subject she had before she was checked or there was any further discussion. You simply said no, and I had no response. And I took that. The no was no, you cannot sit in with Barb on her session. I was so taken aback by that out of hand, without any discussion, refusal to let me sit in with Barb, or even Barb to say whether she would agree or not. I was on. I went away. I had previously signed up for Conservation Commission purposes a appointment at that office hour. It occurred to me that what I wanted to talk about was to get my education and to try to understand legal's input and legal's assessment of our policy. So I had a few minutes at the end of my session on the conservation mission. I asked legal a few questions about the policy, which was very enlightening. And I learned something that could be useful going forward. Depends on how that goes. But there was no plan to, do anything out of that was not correct or ethical. And it was completely within the rights of the policy. I subsequently, per the policy, notified the commission of that meeting. I played since then, or tonight, I've not represented anything that I discussed in that meeting. I'm not bringing anything back to the meeting that council said or didn't say. I think that's a problem when people do that, that if people do use those offices to educate themselves, which is in benefit to the person and to the town, because those office hours were partially implemented to foresee, so the council could foresee issues coming and could help board members who are not experts in the legal or the policies or procedures, could help them understand and do a better job for the town. So I notified the commission that I had done that. There is no, if we want to change the policy and say prior notification, then so be it. But that's not what the policy says. The policy says that we have to notify the commission, and that's what I did. So I think your outrage is missed. And now, if I took things personally, I probably would take that personally, but I don't, Dave. And I would just chalk it up to your being excited.
You know what, Mr. Luck, that was very good. And if there was an Academy Award, you would win it. That's a bunch of crap. Because the night that we talked about this, we even—
Mr. Chairman, I think that's out of order. I think that's out of order.
Glad you feel
Personal
so.
matters
Out of order.
are out of
It was
order.
Out of order when you went and did this behind our back. And that's what you did. And I really had it. And not only my recommendation would be to bar you from seeing the attorneys again, which we have every legal right to do. And for you to sit there and tell us that I did exactly what we talked about is wrong. You did not do that. Your other big reason, I still want to go back to making it a policy that we get permission. We did it because of you. And you took that and you just destroyed it. You took our trust and destroyed it. So I don't know why, I don't even know why you go to council. I have no idea. But I'm going to do this. I expect to write a letter to Heather, let her know what happened here tonight, and which so she can see. And I would tell other chairs or other people, boards that you're on, to watch out, because you do things behind people's backs. You do that all the time. And I've had it. And this is just an example of what it is. But you got to look at over even before. But this is what you do. And if you don't like something, Mr. Luck, even at town meeting, you got up and made your own presentation about Cross Road without letting the commission know. You do things without letting us know. That's awful. You don't know how we feel, or at least I feel, sitting there and saying, why is Mr. Luck up there after our discussion made a vote? You didn't like it. You went up there and did it again. That is wrong. You are not a team player, my opinion. So I'd like to end it with that. Unless anybody else has any comments. Mike, you're first.
So I have to get off, but I don't know. I'm under the agreement that we all were supposed to discuss before we went to council. That was my thing. We were supposed to get together as a group, discuss what needed to be discussed, and then we would go to the council as a group. Excuse me, Dave, I have to jump off the meeting.
And take care.
Thanks.
I'll talk to you soon, Mike. Be good.
Yep.
Brett?
Yeah, well, my recollection was that we discussed the idea of going to council prior to going. And working together as a group on things is definitely key, but I'll leave it at that.
Okay. And John? You're mute, John.
I guess I would agree with what Brett just said, and I don't want to do it tonight, but maybe we just need to revisit the policy.
I agree with that. Anybody else? And I'm sorry, I came across like that. And Mr. Luck, as a person, I like you, but I'm sorry we had to even do this discussion, but it's going to stop. Somewhere along the way, it's going to stop. Next thing, minutes
I hope the browbeating stops and the bullying as well.
and the lying and deceiving. Yes, I hope it does, Mr. Luck. I really do. Next subject would be the minutes. Looking for a motion to approve the minutes. Oh, and by the way, before I forget, Barbara, take Mr. Luck's email to me and attach it to the minutes.
Okay, on the notification, you mean?
Yes, the one that he
Okay.
sent to the board. Put that,
Okay.
attach that to the minutes.
Okay.
Okay.
On the minutes, Carl did just send, well, right shortly before the meeting, sent me edits. I don't know, Carl, do you want to just verbalize them or you want me to send them out to people?
Maybe you could just read them. I don't have them. It's only one little.
Yeah,
although
so
I
on
hate
your,
to
sure.
Bring
I'm
that
sorry.
subject back up.
Did it out, but I haven't grabbed it yet, so hold on. Just one section of the 12:08 minutes.
Hey, Bob?
Yes,
I think with Dave's suggestion just now to add my letter as an attachment to the minutes, I think that addresses the issue. So I think the minutes as they are fine.
okay,
I would withdraw my change.
okay, all right, so back to the minutes before everybody. Thanks, Carl.
What was changed, Barb? So we have an idea.
It was adding in that Carl had asked to attend and was told no. I'm trying to find it, I apologize. Probably in my email.
Okay. Yep, attached to Carl's minutes for sure then.
Okay,
And again, send a copy of those over to Heather for any other board that wants them to monitor what's been going on. Okay. So I'm looking for a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for, shoot, I just went off of it. One moment, sorry about that. The minutes for 12/8/20 as written with the attachment.
I second that.
Any discussion? All in favor? Mr. Luck,
Aye.
Mr. Reynolds,
Aye.
Mr. Ramson.
Aye.
And an aye for myself. Okay, Barb, business reports.
okay. Just to let you know, if you don't already, that the planning board did approve the Bright Farm site plan. So that has finished its public hearings and et cetera, et cetera. I haven't heard any more since then. We did get a townwide email that they are coming up on a 5-year bylaw review, and they're looking for volunteers to serve on the committee, 2 to be appointed by the moderator and 2 by the selectmen. So just putting it out there in case you did not get a copy of that email. Fitchburg's invoice for $13,798.97 for the prior month, that ended November 25th. Was just out for your approval or initializing or initialing. It's pretty much in line with the last couple ones. Jane, who comes in now and does take a look at the flow meters. Our next one will have the spike with the rains that did come on Christmas Day and in December. So next one's going up, but this one was just about the same. I just want to make sure everybody's okay with that. I did send out the year-to-date FY21 budget. If anybody has any questions or anything on that, let me know. And just so you know, it did come out since the last meeting that they found the Wi-Fi for the SCADA system on Leominster Road had as yet gone unbilled, but no longer. So we'll have to increase our telephone budget by that amount. It's about $38 a month for the Wi-Fi for Leominster Road. So back to the start of the fiscal year. It's been about 5 years, so we did not get billed. Since then, I've not received any copies of anything. I don't know where they were going, but we'll be getting it from now on. So that budget will have to go up by that. Grease trap, I was hoping to have first Tuesday reports, but we will by the next meeting. Everybody has been fairly much in compliance, the restaurants that are open. So if anyone's listening and they haven't sent their December reports, please get it in ASAP. Jane and I did work last week on storage. We have moved, or some of our files have been located in the Passios building, and just so you know, we did almost a whole day of trying to get things over there and organized. So just to let you know. And the water district was delivered the lunch that we talked about at our last meeting. They were very appreciative. They were looking to have everybody come with the lunch. They were expecting us, the commission, to also come, and they got just me. But I got a tour of the new facility. It's quite nice, and they were very grateful. And I want to thank Dave, who helped pull it off, because we found out we couldn't do it through the normal channels that we expected to. So thank you to Dave.
Thank you, Dave.
That's the end of my.
I want pizza. We're good at that. Thank you, Barb.
Yep.
One question though on the grease interceptors. Do the people come and see you where the old Mackey's building used to be? Or not the Mackey's.
Oh yeah, that 88 Mass Ave. I have not heard any more on that since they were approved to go from 3 to 5. I haven't heard more about putting in a restaurant or anything. So
Okay.
I know that there's a
What
public-
location is this?
that's
People-
where the barber shop and the pottery place.
Okay.
They had originally talked about a change of use and doing a restaurant and a nail salon, but I've not heard any more about it. And they're aware that, it'll be a change of use and it would have to come before the commission. I did see something about a public hearing for that location for a retail marijuana.
Yeah, they're going to go in the back if everything goes right, in the back of the building.
So
Sure.
I don't know what the plan, if there's any plans on doing the restaurant anymore.
Okay. Let's open it up to public comment. I see Mr. Passios is in the audience here. Mr. Passios, can you hear us?
Sure can, Mr. McDonald. Just sitting in, I had a few minutes to kill and some time before Board of Selectmen's meetings. So as you know, I try to listen in on other board meetings as often as I can. And just looking forward to the budgeting season coming up on us fairly quickly, actually. And Finance Committee will be diving into it in the next 2 to 3 weeks, believe it or not, for next spring's budget votes at town meeting.
You'll be happy to hear that we're working with Karen and Barbara about redoing our budgets and making them more friendly oriented for everybody. So, your comments on that would be greatly appreciated as always.
Look forward to reviewing it.
What
Thank
are
you.
What are you giving away in front of your house? I see a lot of stuff there.
I am in the process of doing a clean out after 15 plus years on this property. I tend to be a collector, and I'm trying to be I'm no longer a collector in cleaning out.
God bless you.
Lots of free stuff out there every day.
Ooh, what's the
Thank you.
address?
Thank you for the plug.
All right. Any public comment from the board? We'll start with Brett.
I do not. Thank you.
Mr. Luck,
No.
Mr. Reynolds.
No.
Okay, and I for myself. Our upcoming sewer commission meetings will be January 26th. Right now at 5 p.m., all remote. Next one after that will be February 9th at 5 p.m. Again, all remote, except for the one that we may have with Mr. Esposito, which Barbara, you will notify us at least 4 days in advance of that, so we can get it posted and commission. So any other comments by anybody? I want to thank you all. I hope you have a pleasant evening. And Mr. Passios, you take care. Thank you for everything you do and all the boards you serve on. And hope everybody has a good night.
Thank you, everybody. Have a
Good
good
night.
evening.
Motion to
Thank you.
adjourn?
Oh, that's right. I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
So motion.
A second.
Second,
Roll call vote. Brett,
aye.
John,
Aye.
Carl,
Aye.
and I for myself. Good night, everybody. This is where I stop the recording, right, Barb?
Yes, thank you all.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Good evening.
And we stop the recording.